En lep dober dan vsem skupaj. Hello everybody. I will continue in English because the event will take part in English. So hello everybody online and everybody in the hall. We're glad that we are part of the festival Tribute to Vision. So thank you, Matea Kino Atelier, for inviting us to together create this story about cinema as innovation hubs. This event is actually organized together with Kino Atelier and also with Center for Creativity. So why have we gathered today? Motovila, or our main goal is promotion of transnational and cross-sector cooperation in the cultural and creative sectors. We're also a Creative Euro desk. This is national contact point for EU Creative Euro program. We strive to provide a complete support service for the sector. This is also why we have partnered with Kino Atelier and Otok Institute and established a consortium called ProCus, which aims at professionalization and empowerment of organizations working in the field of culture. Today's event is also part of this partnership. And our main aim is to present how important are cinemas for local communities and how important is to support development and cooperation among cinemas, festivals and other cultural institutions. Before I give the floor to Matea, I would briefly present today's schedule. So we start with short introduction on how is the European Commission supporting cinemas. Irina Sofletea and Magdalena Džbik will be online with us directly from Brussels, and they will present preparatory action cinema as innovation hubs for local community, because also European Commission is supporting cinemas. After the presentation, you will be able to ask questions, and then we will have a short break. And after the break, we'll have a discussion with representatives of two supported projects, cinemas or movies in motion and resonance cinema. With us there will be Lorena from Kino Otok, Nina from Kino Ptuj. Lorena will join us live here and Nina will be together with us on Zoom. And then we will have also on Zoom Igor from Motovun Festival from Croatia, Mira from Art Fest Bulgaria. And we will be discussing how are their projects changing their landscape and community, and what are they bringing to the community. So you're all invited to be part of this discussion and ask questions. You can do it live from the hall or also from Facebook page. And thank you, Radio Student, for enabling us to go live online. And now I will give the floor to Matea to present the festival and everything around it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ines. Hello to everybody, also from my side. I'm very glad and happy that you are with us. Welcome in the name of Kino Atelier, which is the producer of cross-border film festival Tribute to a Vision. Our festival is situated in border, exactly on the border, because our hometown Gorica in Italian part, but on the other side in Slovenia it's Nova Gorica. We see this place really like one city, or at least we would like to leave it as one city, even these are two different countries, and also many projects that are developed, especially in our context in Kino Atelier, are always with the mission how to connect together public but also film institutions from both sides. And this festival, it's really, it has a strong network of film institutions from both sides, and we are a traveling festival, we could say. The main program is situated here between Gorica and Nova Gorica, but then we also traveled to Ljubljana with the partners in Cinematech and at International Film Festival Live. Our partners are also in Trieste with House of Cinema, Casa del Cinema, but also in Isola with Kinotok, and in Udine with the cinema Centro Sperimenzazione di Udine, but also in a small town which is called San Pietro al Natisone, Špjetar Sloveno, because we believe it's important to bring cinema also in towns which don't have official big cinema halls, but there for sure have a very engaged audience, I would say. So different places, but one common thing is of course the program. Our festival is growing and also developing. If years ago it was based just on one author, we call it Monograph Film Festival, because the main guest, the main film program is based on one author. And this year we gave the award Darko Bratina to Serbian film director Srdan Golubovic, who is with us during the festival, and we present his opus in all these different cities, but not just present films and Q&As and discussions after the film, but we also have a masterclass, one day intensive masterclass, which will be going on tomorrow from 10 o'clock, and we will be also online. So if you are interested to listen to Srdan and to go with him through his path of becoming a cineast, a filmmaker, mostly welcome. As I said, this territory, it's really here are coexisting different institutions, also educational one. In Nova Gorica we have the university, the Academy of Fine Arts at University of Nova Gorica, but we are also proud that at the secondary school we have, for example, the now for 3 years the program specialized in film art. So here are really different institutions, but I would like also to present you the place where we are. You can see it, but it's called Palazzo del Cinema, Hiša Filma. Everything here it's bilingual, as you can already noticed. But this house of cinema is composed with different realities. One of them, of course, it's Kino Atelier, like an NGO, which is dedicated to organize a film festival, tribute to vision. We have also production, mostly of documentary films, which are testimonying, let's say, this reality, this life on the border, but also short films. And one of the main things that we are focusing in Kino Atelier is, of course, film education. And we are developing different projects which we, through cinema, reflect our society. We want to be critical. We want to watch films and discuss about them, but not only. We also have workshops, and one of the maybe biggest workshops is a 1-week film campus for young people. And next year it's going to be the 10th edition, so we would like to prepare something special. But Kino Atelier, it's not the only reality here in the House of Cinema. We have, of course, the cinema. This cinema is composed with 3 cinema halls, and There is also a film production, Transmedia, which is taking care mostly of future films, also presented in different international festivals and distribution. But we have more partners in this house coexisting. And you can see from our activities that it's very diverse. Here it's part also the university Dams Cinema, university from Udine, which is dedicated to film literature, but also especially restoration of the film. It's a laboratorio camera ottica, where do they restaurate and digitalize films. And let's say that this heritage of film is very important in our house because we also have Mediateca. Mediateca is a film library, let's say, one of the 4 in the Friuli Venezia Giulia region. There is another in Pordenone, Udine, Trieste, and the 4th here in Gorica, where it's of course available literature of film, but also DVDs, of course, and archives. We have very interesting archives on Super 8 and all these formats which are again testimonying the life of our community, of our reality here in cross-border area. So different realities coexisting, and so for us it was very important to organize this event, this seminar, because we take care how we will develop this film culture now, but also in the future, which are the possibilities and how can we put all together our resources and energy to really get, I would say, maybe it's pathetically, but to the heart of young people, new audiences, and how to keep alive the cinema. Of course, it's important that we are flexible and that we go now on web platforms, on digital, and that we have all this technology with us. But of course, it's also very important to watch films in the cinema, to be in the perfect place to really enjoy the film entirely. So cinemas for us are very important. Could be in the hall, but also open airs, because we also organize different open airs. So this discussion today, it's the right moment to understand better how can we create our future, our vision of cinema culture.
Thank you, Matea. And now let's go to Brussels. I would like to welcome Irina and Magdalena. So we will have, they will present us how is EU supporting cinemas as innovation hubs. So Irina and Magdalena, the floor is yours. I hope we have them on. Irina? Magdalena? Are you with us? You were here before. We cannot hear you now.
Maybe.
Sorry. I'm calling Irina and Magdalena. I will unmute them.
So maybe In meantime, I can explain you something more about our realities. I was already long, but never enough. Maybe I can explain you a little bit more about this year edition of Cross Border Film Festival, who, as I said, it's taking place in 7 different cities between Slovenia and Italy. We already started on Friday. With the special section called First Crossings, and this program, this part of the festival, it's dedicated to the development and to research of new film languages. And I'm very happy. I can see that we are all together back. So yeah.
So Irina and Magdalena, you may start. I see that Magdalena, you're still muted. Can you unmute yourself? I have already prepared the website. So can we hear you? You may start your presentation. Hello, Magdalena, Irina. Can you hear us? Can you give us a sign that you're with us?
See, this is technology. It's not so easy. It's not so easy to go everything online and digital. It's very important also to be in live. They are not hearing us, but yeah, I anyhow invite everybody to finish this presentation of the festival to join our website. You could see there the whole program and the context where we are working. It's interesting because we just half an hour ago we had tested and we heard everybody, and now we are wondering what is missing.
Yeah. So it's always technology is working, but I don't know are they not receiving the sound, or is it possible they should
try it again here?
Yeah. Irina, can you hear us? And Magdalena? Yeah, we did it, but Irina, are you with us? Because Irina is not muted, and I don't know what's. Aha. Hello, Irina and Magdalena. Can you start the presentation? Some technical problems occurred, so.
Hello, sorry. So, have we missed the introduction, or?
Okay, you didn't hear us. Yeah, okay.
No, I didn't hear anything, so we were waiting for the start. But,
okay. So now we have you. Sorry you have missed a wonderful introduction also by us, because Mateja presented the festival, but now you can go directly to your presentation and present how EU is supporting cinemas as innovation hubs. So this is, shall I scroll the page, or you will start?
It is fine for the moment. We will let you know. Okay, so hello everyone. Sorry we have missed the presentation. So my name is Irina Sofletea. I work for Creative Europe Media. I am joined by my colleague who will introduce herself.
Hello, my name is Magdalena Dźwig. I also work for Creative Europe Media program together with Irina. And so we would like to introduce you and say a few words with the preparatory action which we have launched last year. And we have some first results. And so Irina, would you like to start?
Yes, so just a few introductory words. This is a project that the European Commission launched last year in July 2019. We launched a call for proposals with a budget of 2 million euros to support innovative cultural hubs which are centered about cinema theaters. We were expecting this to be to create some interest, but indeed the interest exceeded our expectations, because last year we had received more than 40, around 45, if I remember correctly, very good applications for our call for proposals, which shows the big interest of the sector, and then also that maybe we have tapped into something that that was needed. So thanks for your invitation to be with you today. I understood you want to see to hear a bit from us what was behind our plan. So the aim was indeed to create these cultural hubs around cinema theaters, because we wanted to create an appetite for European content. For instance, to give you a bit of background, in many discussions with professionals, with stakeholders, there was one element that was coming out often, that some types of content, for instance, European content or art house content, creates interest and draws big audiences to the cinemas in some context and not in others. So we wanted to understand and to help cinemas to bring bigger audiences to European content, and to experiment new ways of reaching out to new audiences, and also to encourage their audiences to come back to the cinemas. Our view was quite global, let's say. So we decided to look at cinemas in their very broad context and understanding, taking into account their cultural, educational, and also social role of cinema. So not going beyond the cinema experience. So we launched, as I mentioned, this call last year, and in a few our expectations now, which I hope will be will come to concrete results during this year, and at the end of the project that we are now supporting. Our expected results are indeed, as I mentioned, to tap into a new audience potential, to encourage cooperation between cinemas and other cultural actors on one hand, and then on the other hand to encourage cross-border collaboration, which is a very important goal for Creative Europe and for media, and also to help cinemas have a stronger, let's say, a stronger role in their cultural, in their social communities, and as cultural hubs, to have this new innovative role to experiment new ways of creating a cinematic experience. So basically, to do what they do best. And now I will give the floor to my colleague, who will tell you a few words about the project we are very proud to support, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from you a bit later. So Magda, and also to complement me on the current action.
Yes, thank you, Irina. As Irina mentioned, the objectives of the call, a bit of background and the context, how we launched this call. And as a result, we have selected 5 projects, and coming from 5 different countries, from Italy, from France, Croatia, Bulgaria, and Germany. So these were coordinators of the project. And together with those coordinators, 22 partnering organizations participate in those projects. So we have quite diverse geographical scope of the action, because the partnering organizations come from different regions, from the south, from the north, from Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Slovenia, from Romania, Greece, and Hungary. So I hope I mentioned all the countries, but indeed it's quite diverse. And this was one of before I go to in more details to some of the projects, this was in general one of our principles, that we would like to have this diversity, cooperation between partners. And in terms of the selected projects, all of them had at least 3 partners. And also in terms of the activities that they in their proposals, they what we expected, and they went beyond the typical cinema activities, because these cooperations are with different partners active in other fields. And also, so we hope this would bring this variety of activities and get the local communities closer together. And also one area of focus, which was also in the objectives of the call, was the engagement of young audiences. So as we have now overview of the projects, almost all of them, if not the main focus, but some at least side activities, were with participation of young audiences. And that was also important to us, to have engagement of young people, and encourage them to participate in different kinds of events around cinemas. So just to mention very briefly, because we will have later also discussion with some of the participants, representatives of the selected projects. So one of the selected projects coming from Italy, called Cine, and coordinated by Slow Food. So this was a project which caught our attention also because of this environmental aspect and the focus on slow food, the notion of slow food, and the activities will be around tasting, so going around and also activating the local community around those important topics. Then we have a project coming from France, Cine Hub by Generation Z, which is with cooperation with 3 partners and coming from Belgium and Netherlands. This is a project which is focusing in particular on young audience. All 3 partners, they aim to create activities and engage with different age groups of young people, ranging from school kids, teenagers, and students. We have also a project coming from Croatia, Movies in Motion. And so later Igor will tell more about this interesting cooperations, the regional interesting cooperation between Croatia, Slovenia, Italy, and UK, which also aims to activate cinemas in smaller towns, and with a wide range of activities for participants. We also have a project from Bulgaria, Resonance Cinema, which is also an interesting cooperation, regional cooperation with Hungary, Slovenia, and Croatia. And last but not least, we have selected a project connecting cinemas in rural areas, which indeed is focusing on activities in rural areas, in really small places where access to culture and cinemas is not that easy. And this is a very big cooperation with partners coming from Croatia, Romania, Greece, Netherlands, Germany, and Belgium. So the programming, which will be developed together by those partners, the results will be shared, and it could be also like a manual for other participants, which could take inspiration of activities taken in such a project. So this is more or less the overview of the projects selected last year. As Irina said, we also launched this call this year, but for the moment we cannot say much because the selection process is ongoing. So, but we received again quite a significant number of projects, a bit less than last year. But unfortunately, we also have less budget for this selection. So we can assume and we expect that the selection will be again very competitive. Yeah, so this is more or less what I wanted to share with you. I don't know if Irina, you would like to compliment or say something more about this action, and yeah, we are open to your questions or comments.
Thank you. Irina, would you like to add something, or please unmute yourself?
Sorry, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, so just the fact that we are in this ongoing evaluation, and with the call we launched this year, it was a logical continuation of all the goals from the first year. It is just that we decided to stress two elements, and one was the cross-border collaboration, and the other one was the collaboration with VOD platforms, and also, let's say, this a stronger online element, given both the need, as we said, for more innovation, but also keeping in mind the current context.
Actually, I have one question. You mentioned already that there was a lot of interest for this call on EU level, and also in Slovenia we noticed that a lot of organizations were calling us about it. And since you received more than 40 applications, and all of them were basically answering the goals of the call, how did you select these 5 projects? What are these outstanding characteristics of these projects? You were already explaining a little bit about them, but what are these key points that you said, okay, those 5 will receive the support, and the others, although we know because of lack of funding, they were not able to receive funds, but can you explain a little bit about it?
Yeah. As you know, yes, most calls are very competitive, and there are some projects that indeed score, let's say, don't score a high number of points. So then it is, let's say, easier. But there are lots of projects in any type of EU selection where the reason is not insufficient quality, but insufficient funding. So yes, unfortunately, at a certain moment, we need to draw the line when the budget is finished. So we would have liked to support at least the five other projects, but it wasn't possible. I think for these 5 that were supported, as my colleague Magdalena said, many good points were related to, they either had one very strong point, for instance, the focus on young people, or the focus on some environmental aspects, or something that has potential to, for instance, the slow food element, something that has potential to bring wider audiences, to tap into some other types of audiences. So it was one of either they had a very strong element on young audiences, or one of the projects had also a strong element on a strong inclusion element, also for people with disabilities. And so there were many arguments that that made them stand out. And as well, there were big collaboration projects with either several actors from fewer countries, or a big number of countries. So we really appreciated this will of reaching out.
And we also, taking into account this experience from previous year, we also, this was also a reason which we wanted to put more focus in this year call, that indeed in the previous evaluation we were very positively impressed by the level of cooperation, how the partnerships were created. So this was also an aspect which we took into account, that if the coordinator organization really, we could see that it was a lot of effort to reach out, to create collaboration with different regions, with different countries, and create a common strategy and share these good practices. It was an important aspect that we took into account. And of course, the call is focusing on European content. So we always also evaluated how the programming was explained, what kind of activities, and in some cases the topic was we thought also the particular focus of certain activities was going into the direction which is currently discussed and important, and we thought that this would be also relevant for this action. And some other actions were a bit more classical, with explaining how to engage and how to again increase the interest in the European content amongst young people, amongst other audiences. So these were very often those also applications which we couldn't finance because of lack of sufficient budget. But indeed, we have seen that there were many organizations taking effort to screen very high quality European content.
Thank you. I'm reaching out to the audience in the hall. Does anybody have a question for our guests? Just raise your hand and our colleague will give you the microphone if somebody has a question. Otherwise, I have a question. You already mentioned that the funding for the second preparatory action decreased. And we also noticed that in the first edition, so for the first action, you co-financed also the cost of equipment and digitalization. But for the next generation, this was not co-financed. And is the reasoning behind the decrease in funding, or what's the reason behind it?
Yes, to a certain extent, since we had less budget, we also needed to decide where we put our focus. But also we wanted to change a bit because of the current situation. So we thought that we would put less focus a bit on infrastructure, which was one of our initial ideas. and more on the adaptation to the current situation. So that's why we mentioned more of this online collaborations to organize hybrid events to adapt to the current situation and to the problems which cinemas are facing.
Okay, thank you. So if there are no questions, no?
Maybe we can, maybe we can also ask, or at least we are interested, if you are already thinking what is going to be the focus at the next call. Where are you moving with the topic? Which would be the most important thing at the next call?
It is a bit early to say. For instance, the focus for this year was decided in spring this year, before we launched the call. And apart from this, as you probably know, this is not this call, which is a preparatory action. Sorry to use the jargon, but it is not part of the Creative Europe media calls. This is a special budget that comes from the European Parliament. So on one hand, it shows that the importance of cinemas and their role is acknowledged not only by us but also by the Cultural Committee in the European Parliament, which is good because we share the same goals. But on the other hand, this is a totally different sort of form of funding, and these actions are temporary. They are meant to last for 3 years. But in addition, the decision for each new call and for each new budget is taken every year. So we still need to see what will be the decision for next year, if the call will be continued or not. However, we hope there will be many lessons learned from the project, the 5 very interesting projects we are supporting, and the ones that we will be supporting this year, and to integrate some of the lessons learned and the good practices into the Creative Europe Media Program on the long run. But here we are speaking again about the long run. So you need to bear with us for a while. We cannot have the answers right away.
We can just stress out that we need this kind of course because it's really important when you connect all different actors in the development of film culture, and you can see from a big interest, and it's not even all of them who are preparing for the next calls, because it's really shaped in the right way, because it's so complex, but on the other side, putting all together, we can really change some, let's say, film culture, how we consume film and cinema. So yeah, I believe also our audience and our partners see this as a very important call in the context of cinema.
Thank you for your positive feedback.
Yes, because this indeed, as Irina mentioned, this kind of preparatory actions are by their nature a bit more experimental. So in a way, we have a bit more freedom to adapt ad hoc to the situation, but then they don't last forever. They have very definite timing, and it's an open question how they could be integrated, the lessons learned from this kind of experiment.
Okay. So if there are no questions, or
from
somebody from the audience? No?
Yeah.
We can have a short break. And
when we suggest that we could have a short break and we continue with presentation of the projects, and maybe there will be coming also new questions in between. I'm sorry that you haven't heard my presentation. It was long and strong, but maybe just to briefly say about our festival, Cross-Border Film Festival, which is situated here in the border town between Gorica and Nova Gorica, between Slovenia and Italy. And we are also traveling through 7 different cities, Ljubljana, Isola, and then also Udine, Trieste, and San Pietro il Natisone. Different realities, not just cinema and main cinema halls like a Cinematheque and film festivals like Live, like Trieste Film Festival, like Kinematografi, but also small places like small town, quite, yeah, even not town, little town, like, no, it's not village, but a little bit more than village. Speter, San Pietro il Natisone. All our reality, it's really connecting different film institutions, but also audience, which are 100 kilometers away, could look like very similar, very close, but we are culturally very different. But let's say that we all stress to promote cinema culture in between us. And yeah, this is the house where we are now. It's called House of Cinema, and here are coexisting different film realities, like film production, organizers of a film festival, but we have also a laboratory for restoration of the films, Camera Ottica and Mediatek. So in one way, we are exactly what you've been asking in this call. But for functioning all this, it's very important to have this kind of support, is like you talked about today. So yeah, we hope, even if not in this context, that these kind of calls will find the right budget on the European level, because we believe it's the right shape of connecting different realities.
Thank you, Magdalena. So thank you, Irina. Thank you, Magdalena. As I said before, you can stay with us and listen to the discussion, but we will continue after a short break. 10 minutes or maybe just 5 because of the timing, and see you in 5 minutes, everybody online. Now let's have a short break and we will continue with the discussion.
Thank you.
Okay,
we are looking forward to listening to the presentation, and thanks it was a good conclusion, the right way to connect different realities. So let's stay with these words. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We will continue with the discussion. So we will show the stories behind the projects, Movies in Motion, and project Resonance Cinema, Cultural Hub for Curious Minds. And who are the people behind these projects? With us live is Lorena Paulic from Kino Otok or Otok Institute, director of the institute, and via Zoom we have Mira Staleva from Art Face Bulgaria, and Nina Milošić from City Cinema Ptuj, and Igor Mirković from Motovun Film Festival. Firstly, congratulations to all of you to these two winning projects that were selected out of only 5 selected projects or funded projects. So we have very different partnerships here. We're presenting different partnerships, while Resonance Cinema has gathered 4 cinema theaters from Bulgaria, Hungary, Croatia, and Slovenia. Movies in Motion is gathering festivals, film associations, organizations active in the film promotion and education. And as Resonance Cinema is trying to create a hub around their cinemas, Movies in Motion is bringing cinema to areas with outdated or no infrastructure. And now I would like to give the floor to Mira, firstly, and then to Igor, to present what is going on, what is the essence behind your project activities. But you can also start with presenting your organizations. And after your presentations, I will give the floor to Nina and to Lorena to present what is your role in the project as partners. So, Mira, you may start with the essence of your project.
Okay, hello everybody. Thank you for inviting us. We were really happy when we got the news that we are supported for the project, because as I suppose everybody remembers, last year there wasn't enough time for writing it down when it came out with the announcement. So it was really speedy. But very briefly on Resonance Cinema Cultural Hub for Curious Minds, as we named our project. We are for cinema in 4 countries in the Southeastern Europe: Slovenia, Bulgaria, Croatia, and Hungary. And we decided to step on activities which are uniting us, something that we can share good practices that we are already doing. With a very strong focus on the development of young audience, creating YouTube channel and manual of tutors, tutoring young people how to acquire YouTube skills, because we were thinking that to have audience in 10 years, we have to start working with the young people now, and we have to really make them interested. So other focus in our project is how we make social cohesion. So how we build communities along our cinemas. So we wanted to make it accessible for everybody, and particularly for this audiences which don't really have access. What I mean is people with intellectual problems, with visual impair or hearing impair. These are special adapted screenings that we decided all 4 cinemas to do, so we can really attract these people to our communities of regular cinema goers. So basically in the center is the cinema theater itself, because we really consider it as a temple. With all my respect and our respect of the project to the VOD platforms and the online, it's great when you have COVID restrictions, and it's great to catch up as a right of information, but cinema is made for big screen, and most of the European authors are made to be watched on big screen. That's why we want to kind of bring up young audiences which really appreciate the art cinema, so they have to learn the language for that. So part of our activities is to make it attractive for young audience to learn the language of cinema. So we have some educational and co-creational workshops like cinema of history, also teaching the young people to make short films that we will after that put on this YouTube channel. Another angle that we are trying to represent, to create as a platform is let's make it fun. So we want to make screening of music documentaries connected with parties after that, so the young people can recognize it as a place that they belong. For this screenings, we invite also famous directors to play the music after that, to present their favorite music films, and after that to play the music. So yeah, that's very briefly the essence: to get all the different audience, to make it feel at home in our cinemas, to exchange our good practices in the direction of attracting audiences and young audience to be on the very focus with different educational and co-creational activities. And of course, to include VR. New technologies are around us, and because there are no cinemas in our countries which are presenting VR installation on a regular basis, we want to do that as well, kind of to feed the curiosity of young people. And in between, there are many, many interesting things. In between, we have two festivals involved, so we want to make this some of the young people traveling between Sophie Film Festival and a small festival in the Hungarian partner that they are doing. So let's teach them how the film festivals look like, so they can meet the directors and the authors and to be much more involved. And another activity which is very important for us is selected young people will program the 4 cinemas during the year. Of course, not every day, but every like 2 months, they will have the chance under supervision to learn how to program films in the cinema, so they can invite all the gangs around them and we can become popular. But that's it. Let's bring the cinema back as a community center, because this is what is missing, at least in our countries, where for promotion and cinema theaters as infrastructure are not really that well maintained, and not that many of them. Yeah, I think I covered most of the subjects. I think Nina can add if I'm missing some things, but I hope that in the discussion we can come to some other angles. Thank you.
Thank you. I will give the floor to Igor now, since you're the project leader of Movies in Motion.
Yes, hello from Zagreb. I'm representing Motovon Film Festival, which has a tradition of more than 20 years now. We started in 1999, and I was there from the very beginning. I'm a co-founder of the festival, and we are running the festival in a small town in Istria. So our basic idea was to make the festival outside the cultural centers, outside big towns, and to bring the program which is orientated to art house film mainly, mostly European, but not only European. So since we have a very, very long tradition of doing this in Istria, some 6 or 7 years ago, we started to make a traveling program which shows parts of the program, 1 or 2 or 3 films in nearby towns or villages. And it shows us that there is a big interest for such events, that there is the audience for such films in the small communities. So this I'm sorry. So what I want to say is that the project we are running now came out from the projects we already did. So we had some little cooperation with Kino Isola Festival. We exchanged volunteers in the past, and since we are doing basically the same job or very similar festivals in the 2 countries in the same region, our idea was to connect those 2 parts of the region. Istria is one region which has Slovenian part and Croatian part, and our idea was to put together the program which will goes in both countries. This gave us 2 countries and a partner from 2 countries to start the project. And then we invited 3 more partners from 2 more countries. One is Croatian Film Association from Croatia, Live Cinema UK, and Filmmakers Academy from Italy, from Bologna. We had the previous experience with all those partners, which means that we had an international project with Live Cinema UK previously, and we know that they are very experienced in create live events around cinema screenings, which means that they have screenings with a live music score or stuff like this. Filmmakers Academy Bologna has a long experience in creating VR workshops for the general audience. So our idea was to invite all those partners to create the program which will be exciting and innovating for the region, which has a lot of towns and villages with no cinemas. So in our program, cinema is not a physical venue, but we have a program which put together 13 towns or villages, some of them very small, some of them has not much more than 100 inhabitants. I would say that only 2 places in the project has more than 5,000 inhabitants. So those are the small communities which used to have the cinema previously, but they don't have it anymore. And we decided to create a program which will be based on European films, but which will be excited at the same time, which will give the guest authors and workshops and special events like screenings which are open air on special places to show the audience that the theaters can be exciting, interesting for them, and to bring the magic of the film screenings back in their lives. Since all those communities are very small, it's obvious that they don't have enough audience for the regular screenings, for the regular cinemas. But there is, I mean, we discovered in our previous experience that there is enough audience for 1 or 2 or 3 screenings a month. So our idea is to have some kind of a moving program, sometimes in this town, sometimes in another town, and to invite all of them to move together with us with the program around. Half of the program is targeted for the school audience. So this means that we have to be a very close connection with the local schools. We have local partners in each of those towns. Mostly, these are the cultural organizations or institutions which works on in a local area. So this program is putting together a lot of partners, not only those 5 which are listed in the project, and we are trying to. The final goal is to prove that such a program is possible, that there is the audience for such a program, and to somehow teach the local cultural people to continue with the program even after our project stops. So I think I basically covered all the important.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe Lorena can add what is your role or role of OTOC in this partnership, and why is this partnership important for you?
Yes, hello to everyone. I will just briefly present our institution. It's OTOC Institute. We started 17 years ago with the film festival Kino Otok Izola Cinema, which was the start of all our other programs. From then, we developed various educational programs in the region. And throughout the year, we do have also European projects and local and national that we do in the Istrian region in Slovenia in 4 communities, and we work also with, let's say, more than 50 elementary schools, secondary schools, etc. So our very focus together with the festival is film education, but film education in all sense. Regarding this project, I could say that it's a dream come true. It really is, because it allows us to do such projects that we always thought about them, but never were able to. There was a lack of equipment for doing it, and there was no financial help for them, because it is really a great thing to do. We started making projection in small, let's say, places where there is no, let's say, art cinema. This is our one of our how do you say criteria, no? And now, when we started, there was really a great I'm losing my words now. There was really a great emphasis. People really loved it. And now we started, because it is a really great way to connect arts, various arts. So when we started doing it, I was just already called by different places asking us if we will also come to them. So in this place, cinema, when we come to a place with a screen and a really good program, we are opening old houses, old cultural houses, and immediately all the people are calling us, oh, we can collaborate, and we're already making a collaboration with local communities regarding literature. We already are collaborating with a library. Then there are people who are calling us because they saw that we're having a program, food and wine, because this is a very wine region as well. And I would say that a great thing is that there is, as Igor said, there is a great audience who are now seeing films, a very of film European quality cinema, which they wouldn't see in other circumstances. There is no way this kind of people would go in other places, but there is also in the region, there are not so many. So this is really a great opportunity, because all the projections that we are making are the projections that we are always introducing them. So we're doing kind of film education on a various levels. So we are introducing the film. It's not just going to the cinema, but it's really an experience when we are building the community around cinema.
Thank you. I love the fact that this partnership is spreading even beyond this project. But now let's give the floor to Nina. Nina, will you explain what is your role in the project? And actually, will you explain the story? How did you find partnership, or how did you make this partnership?
Okay, hello from Ptuj. Shortly, I will just explain some most important things about our cinema, Mestni Kino Ptuj, or Ptuj City Cinema. This is the oldest still operating cinema in Slovenia. It's 123 years old already. And it is from 2008, it is operated by the local youth center, Center Interesnih Dejavnosti Ptuj, or Center for Free Time Activities. This is a youth center which operates on another location. So the Ptuj City Cinema has always searched for innovative ways to reach to the audience, because before 2008 it almost closed down. So making it a so-called event cinema was the only way to survive, actually. So this project, the Resonance Cinema project, is a very good way to upgrade these events that are not only focused on film screenings, but connect film screenings with other activities for different types of audiences. So for us, why we are really happy that we got this project, the most important part for Ptuj City Cinema is that we are now making a second screening room that will not just be a screening room for film projections, but also for other types of events. And in this way, we will be able even more to upgrade this synergy with the youth center that operates the cinema. And what is very precious in this is our international partners that we can exchange good practices with. So we actually learn from each other.
Thank you. I love those buzzwords or those thoughts by Mira and Igor. You were saying that we need to learn or to teach the younger generation about cinema and to bring them the magic of the cinema, to experience the cinema. And since we saw before that the interest for this call was very high, how were you imagining your innovative ways of attracting audience, of building communities? Do you think these are innovative ways, or these are just the usual ways, but presented on a new way? And what was innovative in your projects? Maybe all of you can, or I don't know.
Yes, our project is actually a mixture of upgrading activities that existed before, but we never had the resources to fully develop them, and some of the completely new content, for example, the VR that Mira was telling about, that we had no experience with before.
I would put it like innovative when we are talking about culture and cinema theaters. It is about the approach. Let's say eventicized for festivals or for cinema theaters is already a bit innovative. Of course, innovation is not like in the technology sector. I mean, we screen films, basically. So we cannot be innovative about that. But our innovation is how we approach our audiences and how we put them together. So this project, I really want to share that I find it extremely helpful, because I think that's really the mission of the cinema theaters, especially in the small countries, because of course we cannot compete with France and Germany with all the policies in the film distribution and film exhibition that they have. But in our countries, it's a matter of surviving in most of the cases. So this call for projects was very, very essential and helpful. So as Nina mentioned, it helped us even to think about a second screen, which when you have a second screen, you can make a variety of programs. So then you can really start thinking of attracting different niche audiences. And once you can differentiate your audiences, you know how to approach them, but you also need a bit of space with the digital equipment. You need to be inventive and innovative again in the way you approach them and what events you are creating for them, so they can recognize it as their own. They're not put from above, but they kind of get engaged. I think that's the real innovation in our cases. And the festivals are also having crucial role, because having the huge PR machine and being kind of festival fiesta, that's why festivals exist. I mean, like, they get the people together, they can talk about the film, they can meet the film directors, the actors. It creates completely different ambience, which we are trying to recreate in the cinema theaters occasionally, making events, inviting people, directors, actors, producers. So basically, we are learning for a film festival. In my case, I'm coming from a film festival. We are doing Sofia Film Festival. That's why having these different experiences as a distributor, as a film festival, you very quickly learn that the people come when there is somebody to pay attention to them, like the festival activities. And if we manage to make it a bit longer and to make these communities, to make young people especially recognized us as festivals, as cinema theaters, and be loyal to the great programs that we are creating for them.
Lorena, would you like to add?
I don't have anything more to add now when I heard my colleague speaking now, because I totally agree with what she said. But I would just wanted to say that I find that the call was very innovative, because it really allowed us to make into practice what we are doing in the last 20 years, let's say. So all the practice that we have and all the international connections and all the connection in the cinema field, we are now able to put it into practice, which is really, really great. As Mira said, this is what you do. You can now make it a reality into small communities. And as I said before, it never before we had this opportunity to do also with Moto. When we did collaborate before, but we always try to, let's say, we must do something together. But it was really difficult, no, in a way. And this is really a great opportunity. And on the other hand, coming into small communities also in this area, of course, is important also the digital part of it. But on the other hand, we are now, from our experiences, that people need community and they need to meet each other. And also these projections in small communities are something that are very beneficial also in these times, I would say.
Igor, you also mentioned when we were talking about building a community. What about your connection with local governments or national governments? Are they seeing benefits of this project? Are they willing to cooperate or to fund the project ongoing activities even after the closure of this project?
Yeah. First, I want to say that I totally agree with Mira and Lorena, because I think that we have to face unpleasant truth that the cinemas are not that attractive as they used to be 20 years ago. The audience is surrounded with the audiovisual attractions on computer, on TVs, everywhere. So being a filmmaker, I don't like this, but we have to create a package around film screenings. Otherwise, people and I don't think it's innovative, but that's what we are doing with this, trying to present with the workshops, special events, to get the attention of the viewers who otherwise wouldn't go to a cinema. That's the idea. It's not very new. It's the experience we have with the festival. So at the festival, you have a large audience for the films, which in normal circumstances wouldn't have an audience at all. Because people want to have event around the films. Communities, we have a very good cooperation with the local communities, but what is a very new situation for all of us is this pandemic we have, because I have to say that the local communities are very careful about our ideas right now, especially for the school audience. So no one knows if this is clever or not to start at this moment. So we have to make very, very, very slow steps to make the project alive. Because I'm 100% sure that they will participate in the project very willingly and will like very much. And nowadays we have to be very, very careful. But we do have a support of the local communities, so I have to say that they're happy with the project in general.
So you think that the cinema will stay even after the closure of this project or funding? Cinema in these remote areas or...
That's what we are trying to do, because some of the towns which are connected, which are in the project on Croatian side, has new venues, but they don't have a program for that. So we hope that after the project, they will understand that the films are that the films has the audience, and they will continue to do it in their venues themselves.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully, but on our side, there is. I think there will be the equipment missing because now we have it, and we hope that. I mean, I am sure that the local communities would do appreciate what we are doing, and also they are inviting us also to be already having an event in Koper already in October. But I hope this will be a good practice for them to see and to engage. But I would think that on a such extent that we are doing now, it will be quite difficult. So I would say that we would be also in the future needing European support.
Igor, you were already mentioning that about COVID restrictions and projections in schools or for schools. There's a question for all of you. Because you were preparing this project proposal before COVID reality, how are you now dealing with this new reality? Has something changed for the project activities? Or maybe Nina or Mira can start? Mira.
Yes, I can definitely start. Of course, a lot of things changed. The restrictions that were imposed everywhere made us delay most of the activities. We cannot pretend that nothing is happening and start gathering people, not to mention that some of the cinema theaters were closed till the beginning of June. So definitely it does change the way we approach the project and all the activities that we have to do. We have to be adequate and to kind of pay attention to all the restrictions, but you can see the curiosity of the people. They have it enough of being locked down, and they're really, really coming with a new energy. So I think it's kind of a matter of time to really get into the rhythm that we were planning from when we were writing the project. Of course, it depends on the measures that will be taken. If there is a second wave of COVID in the moment, we will still have to respect it and kind of postpone a little bit, because we don't make parties with musical films if there is something so serious and danger in the air. So yeah, no way to escape this.
But were you also planning to put films online, or partnership with VOD platforms in case of like an emergency escape, or?
We can kind of do that. It's on the back plan B, but that's not our point of making the communities, because we have this YouTube channel that we will make more busy with content for young audience, but it's not really the art content that we want them to see on the big screen, because our point in our project is learn cinema, learn the language of cinema and celebrate it together. Because as I'm repeating all the time, that cinema is a language, it is. And in the moment you learn it more and more, you kind of demand more and more. You have the hunger for more and more.
Great. Nina, what about in Ptuj?
Yes, of course, the lockdown has affected us enormously. We have seen a 70% drop in cinema visits on the regular basis. As Mira already said, we had to postpone some of the events that were planned. Now we are starting the season of events, but with some restrictions, like people have to wear masks and so on. So it's a specific situation. But on the other hand, it makes even more important what I said before about the second screening room that we are going to equip, because the equipment we will have there will be a mobile. So in situations like this, it would be for cinemas like us, it would be very precious if we could go out, if we could go open air. And so I see this as a possible solution to the problem.
Thank you. I would like to ask the audience if there's any questions from the audience. No? Matteo, do you have any questions? Or?
Yeah, maybe I can see, I agree with you, cinema is the best and the first place to watch the films. But for us it's really hard to think on different ways of presenting and consuming cinema, but probably we will have to invent some new ways how to get in touch with the young audience. We can also see that different formats are coming are becoming more interesting, like TV series, no, or something that we've been missing for many times, short films or video music clips. It's something that we should think how to include all these formats, and because otherwise I believe it's going to be hard to invite them to become regular cinema watchers. We all who are doing different kind of film production or festivals or whatever don't like firstly this, but looks like it's very important. So I'm also wondering what it's your opinion how we could use these VOD platforms in a good way, or maybe if you have some good experience or you heard about some interesting case studies, how it works. And something that we also have to keep in mind, we have this cultural background which is different, and probably in the northern part of the Europe or western part of the Europe, which is much more advanced in digitalization in all parts of everyday life. Maybe it's easier, but I believe we still don't feel it like a common way of consuming films and audiovisual culture. But I'm also wondering how could be the best way to include them, no?
Anybody has a comment on that? Maybe Lorena, your festival Cinema Isola was collaborating with the platform CineSquare. Was this collaboration successful?
Yes, it was, but we kept it as a last solution. So the first thing was that the festival was planned to be in June, was postponed at the end of August, and we also continued, of course, with the VOD, which was really after you already have made a festival, it's great to also share the contents on VOD platforms, because there are people who are not able to see it or they're missing it. But I'm on the emphasis after the festival, no? But it was really, but now with the new reality and also with the VOD developing, it's a great way of this. We could say it also hybrid in a way, no? As this kind of thing was really okay. Also, the festival was made with satellite projection, with the festival itself, and with VOD, and the combination of all of them, I think it's great. Just yeah, I would say the combination was really perfect. Yeah.
So we can also see VOD as a kind of attracting audience to the cinema. So presenting films on VOD and then like engaging them and attracting them to go to the cinema. So
this is maybe something that I think, if I'm speaking for we all have to work on it, to think it as the way you presented it. I think this would be also a way to do it, of course. Yeah.
So what do you think is the future of the cinema? A hard question. Considering, that the young audience is consuming more on online than going to the cinema, and especially now with all the restrictions. Who will be brave enough to give me an answer?
I will be, because I'm near to you, so it's easier for me to jump on you and say something. No, I was just briefly, really. On the last projection, there was this very nice lady she is a poet, and she came to me and said, "Look, I brought my grandchildren with me to the cinema because they really are missing this opportunity, but they are really willing to go to the cinema if they have a nice experience." So from our experience, they're all returning. There is this younger public, and on the other hand, we are also throughout the year working with young public, with young spectators, with workshop and activities. So for us, it's also, I think this is a combination, working with young audience and having a real cinema. And there I see the future in the cinema there, of course, with events and projects like that, like this one.
Thank you. Nina, would you like to add something?
Yes, as already Igor mentioned, I think that the future is cinema. If somewhere, then it's in events, in the whole package. Maybe in bringing cinema closer to the communities, also in geographical terms, like open air screenings, because the setting in which the film is screened is also a very important part, and can be even the most interesting part of the package sometimes. So let's hope we will see cinemas survive.
Igor and Mira, would you like to add something?
On everything said, I'm still a believer that the cinema is a tempo, and talking about that, of course, we cannot stop the digital distribution of cinema, and we don't need to stop it. It's just the complementary way. It's a right of information, but that's why our responsibility, I believe, lives to make the cinema theaters and the festival that attractive. So young people, and not only the young people, but a bit older, to recognize it in their own place. What I'm saying it all the time. I think that's the big challenge for all of us, because most of the cinema, it's not made for small screens. However big are the home screens, they're really not made for that. And the power of cinema and the magic of cinema lays into the beauty of sharing, of the collective mind, of watching it with other people, because this is collective emotion. So this is what we want to create, space that they can share, that they can talk about. So if we have more events, more creative collaborations with authors, that's of course an attractive place. And as you have an attractive place where the people are coming, they make stronger community for itself. So it's a much bigger role behind. So it's, from one angle, it's about the art that we're dealing with cinema, but from the other angle, we're talking here about communities, social communities, which are still communicating. Online experience can never do that. Again, you can catch up with many films, but you never share about them. You don't share the emotion, and that's the magic of cinema.
You're not being a part of
So
community.
yes, hybrid models will work, and they will save us in situations like COVID and things like that. But my point here is, let's not forget the focus of cinema theaters.
So the VOD platforms are kind of a plan B or even plan C. Okay, so this is like a... I have another question regarding your future plans, so future of your partnerships, because we have seen that actually you were really like dealing with new reality, new situations, exploring your partnerships, and even growing your partnerships. And what are your future plans? Will you be collaborating even after the closure of funding? And were you thinking even of exchanging your ways of dealing with audience, or considering the plan C, maybe of exchanging your audience? This is especially for the cinemas or even for the festivals. Were you thinking about that? I know it's like a futuristic way of exchanging your audience, but maybe for the future. And with this, you can also grow your audience, maybe. Question.
But I think in one way this is already going on, this what you pointed out, the exchange of the audience through the film festivals. Of course there are some we say festival film tribe which is moving into different festivals, and for example the concept of our cross-border festival is also to invite public from, for example, the town in Italy, Udine or Trieste, to join the screening in Ljubljana or in other smaller towns. We are doing this through different programming, so that in a way we force them if they really want to know the entire opus, the entire all the program, they have to move. And I think this is also building up this community, which doesn't mean that it's necessary just geographically locally, but we can see it more wider, no? And as we mentioned before, we will have to focus and to try to think how to exist and evolve also these digital VOD platforms, even if we all believe we want to be in cinema. But there are also positive things, for example, like this seminar, this discussion. And during the COVID, it was the first boom, no? Many times we don't have time to move, I don't know, to the festival on the north of Europe, but even in a closer places. But in a way, we could be connected because through all this program that moved on web, it's available. It's available also if you don't have one day full travel, but you can be in few hours. You can take few hours during the day to be part of this kind of events. And I was just thinking also about one good practice, good case. I remember Kinotok. It's also co-organizing the Young Film Award. It was during the COVID, and it went online, and it was a big pleasure. I was watching with my kids. It was beautiful. I mean, we've been all together. Otherwise, there were just the ones who went to Isola able to watch the films. But here, it was no limit of the people joining, and we've been also all the family together. So maybe we should think positively, even if it's hard, and try to grab out what could be the right possibilities to develop. But maybe this is more for our financiers and EU funds. It's important when we talk about VOD platforms, we need a lot of money also to establish this kind of infrastructure, that it's really working, that it's working on an everyday base, and that it has a long run vision that will not finish after when the project is finished, and maybe to invest also more to these platforms that are connecting different smaller realities, smaller festivals or cinemas and so on. But we should be aware that this is also time and financial resources needed.
But let's not forget that VOD platforms are quite spread around in the last 15 years. So basically we are at the end of consolidating of this. That's why at the end we had only the big VOD platforms, because all the small disappeared, because it was a matter of activity and promotion that they're supposed to do. So this process already happened. In the moment, I think we have to be very creative to attract our audiences online with the things that otherwise they cannot find there, because the films are there, like okay, maybe not all of them, but most of the distributors now, they will start using VOD because they don't have any other chance. So for us, it's remaining, let's think what is not there yet from the festivals, meetings with the people, talking about the films, streaming even concerts on festivals, which kind of everything additional that can create curiosity and can attract audiences, but it takes a lot of promotion, because that's why the small VOD platforms disappeared in the last 10 years. They just couldn't survive the business model. But I'm sure that we can unite on already existing platforms to stream different events.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But to have our own also.
Yeah, but I think it's financially and technically hard to have your own VOD, so it's better to partner with existing one. But yeah, on the other hand, it's hard to be a small player against a big VOD platform. So in order to be seen in the right way, in order to be heard and to be promoted, so we have all the small actors had to partner together, work together, and like you said, we have to. You said before that we need to teach the audience the language of cinema. So they don't. So they continue to go to cinema and not neglect the cinema and stay on VOD, but to still see a VOD just as a supplement. But in times of crisis or in lack of time, like Matea said, when you don't have time to visit an event or to go to the cinema. Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts, or can you say 3 most important things that, or most important or one thought that came out of this partnership for all of you? Who would like to start?
I can start. I have to say that I learned a lot, because we don't usually, the daily inertia puts you into dealing with your own task, missions, ambitions, whatever, in attracting audience and programming. But when we started talking with Nina and with the other partners, we shared, especially it was in the beginning of COVID, it was March, April, when we got the news that we are approved and we had to move the project further. So started talking already brought me to a clarity about what we can implement from the other cinemas, what they can take from us. So the collaboration for me seems very fruitful, even on our regular meetings, which are every week almost, coming with different ideas, not only because of the project itself, but because of the different restrictions that came with the COVID. So yes, I think we have to talk more often between ourselves, the cultural operators. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that I do believe that this project, the CO, has to stay and has to be developed, because first, nobody cares about cinema theaters. It's only Europa Cinemas which is giving money for programming European films. But for cinema theaters as centers, which are hosting festivals, and for all these activities in the places, small places like Igor are doing, it's essential. It's really essential. And of course, in small places, you can never have a business model that will make it live by itself. Because first, the people don't have money in the small places. It's not a stable business model, but it definitely needs a little bit help from the communities and from the European programs. So I just want to encourage you to develop this program for supporting cinemas and activities of festivals which are developing the audience.
Maybe Lorena, would you like to add your final thought or point out what is important for you, what you gained from this partnership? And
I would say that I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to collaborate with all our partners, and it was also great to have this. I was able to gain a new perspective on VR, VOD, and those activities because our partners, Live Cinema UK and International Film Academy from Italy, from Bologna, was really a great thing. And we already, with, for example, with Live Cinema UK, we already collaborated even on another project because it was just naturally that we made also another connection, which is great. And I think we are working very good together. But also the thing is that this project really opens collaborations for us, not only on international level, but with various organizations on local levels that otherwise we wouldn't have the opportunity to collaborate. And those are the organizations who will make an impact on the local ground.
Igor or Nina?
Yes, I really believe that we are at the beginning of the project. It has a lot of potential because I think we all share the same idea that this project and our festivals are the fight to preserve the film as an art, because I really believe that it's not fair to watch films on such a screens. I am very sad if someone watched my film on this. So it's like listening to music from a neighbor's apartment, something like this. So I think that we should put all our effort to make cinemas attractive again, if this is possible. I think it is. So since we all partners in our project share this common idea, I think that we can do a lot. I believe that we can do a lot of good things together. So for that reason, I really think it's a shame that we didn't already do another project with the cinema, with the Kinematografi, because we are dealing the same mission of the project. So I really think that we can move things with this project we are doing.
Thank you. And Nina?
Yes, I totally agree that this call is. I agree that this call was a great opportunity to step out of our daily routine. We small cinemas often are one-man bands, and so on a daily basis we often don't have this time to exchange ideas cross border. So we are very thankful to be part.
Thank you all for coming and coming to Zoom or to coming to the hall and to be with us online. Matej, would you like to have any final thoughts?
I will just say thank you also from my side to the guests, to the public, and maybe we just say Žive u kino, viva cinema.
Yeah, don't stop going to the cinema, and for all of you, stay curious, and like Igor said, keep inventing new ways of attracting audience, and don't forget about your audience. Thank you all for coming, and hopefully we will see each other at some occasion live. So thank you, and bye-bye to the guests from Croatia, Bulgaria, and Ptuj, and from our guests in Brussels, who are hopefully still with us. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hvala vsem. Thank you.
Bye.